struggle of two worlds moves towards its fearful climax. Over the German war machine, forced back across the destruction wrought by its own guns, hang the shadows of approaching defeat. All down the eastern front, the Russian barrages creep forward, sapping Nazi manpower and morale. And swarming in through the Mediterranean Sea, the United Nations of the West close the circle from behind. And those who have studied Hitler's strategies believe that with crisis deepening around him, he may now launch a desperate campaign fought with his favorite weapon, the weapon of psychological warfare. All around the globe, this strange other war is being fought, a battle of persuasive voices, striving for the conquest of men's minds. Here speaks the voice of Germany, repeating endlessly that might is right. Here Russia's slogan, one for all and all for one. And here Japan, promising for Asia a paradise of prosperity. And China's brave reply, we have no faith in supermen, we believe in common men. And then the powerful voices of democracy, offering to all a world founded on four freedoms. Already, this warfare of persuasion is rallying the nations to new creeds, new orders of society. And the democracies are realizing that if their vision of the people's century is to triumph through the world, then they themselves must conquer men's minds for their own great cause, the cause of human freedom everywhere. In pre-war Europe, one man believed he understood that magic power by which men's minds are conquered. A prophet without honor, a banner with a strange device. Some looked on listlessly, and others only laughed. But himself frustrated, this man became the living expression of a frustrated people's vengeful dream. Within a year, the little painter from Austria was gazing down upon the gigantic spectacle of a nation molded to his own brooding image. But the spectacle that Hollywood might have staged for a show, Goebbels staged to dope the human spirit. With the blood flag of the Munich Putsch in his left hand, with the cold stare of hatred in his eyes, he blessed the mystic standards and bestowed upon their bearers the bully's right to kick their fellow men around. On my faith and your work, he said, we shall build our new Germany. And the people, regimented in their thousands, acclaimed the figure who had conquered their minds in the name of fear and vengeance. You are our sublime image, they chanted, our father, our mother, and our brother.
Und weil dieser beste Rassenwert der deutschen Nation.
When you address the masses, wrote this sublime image of cynicism in his book, you must remember that they can memorize only the simplest idea, repeated until even the stupidest can grasp it.
Und das Geld. Die Partei.
You must remember, he wrote, that the primitive masses will never fall victim to a small lie, since they themselves are always lying in small matters. But they will certainly fall victim to a great lie, because they are unable to imagine that others are capable of such infamous distortion. And this is a fact well known to all the great lying artists of the world. And afterwards, that fevered fanatic Rudolf Hess called upon the multitude bewitched to bow down before the god of lies.
Deutschland, wie Deutschland Hitler ist! Hitler, Sieg! Heil!
Even today, the priests of National Socialism boast that propaganda brought us to power, and propaganda will yet give us dominion over all the world. So the dark creed of hatred spread across the frontiers of the Reich, and among nations of a different temperament became ridiculous. To England, citadel of order and good sense, the spreading struggle for men's minds could only seem a nightmare tale of the underworld, told on the movie screens. And even with war upon her, England still asked incredulously if the yelling dictators could indeed command the fanatic loyalty needed to send millions to their death. With deep emotion, Britain hailed the coming of Churchill, for in this staunch figure was a statesman who well understood the terrible power of Nazi fanaticism, and a leader who could inspire his people with the faith and will to meet it unafraid. And in those early days of war, while the armies of France and Germany stood poised along the Rhine, we did not realize to what insidious lengths the Nazis were carrying their battle for men's minds. They floated messages across, asking in injured innocence, "Frenchmen, why do you make war on us, your friends?" And then sweet music to relieve the boredom of the Sitzkrieg. And along the bastions of the Maginot Line, beneath the proud tricolor of France, they danced to the tunes which Goebbels called. And when the Wehrmacht burst across the frontiers, the articles of Germany's own vengeful creed were daily thrust before her soldiers' eyes to remind them of the fruits of victory. And in the forefront of every campaign were the specialists of the German propaganda companies, painting their picture of terror for all to see. Cameramen sacrificing their lives to shoot the so-called grandeur of advance. Radio engineers pushing their microphones forward to let the whole world hear the sound and fury of destruction. But even with their armies marching through the streets of Paris, the Nazis could not conceal the fear behind their grim philosophy of hate. Frenchmen, you need not have wept to see the barbarians swarming into your beloved city. You need not have wept to see the gross figure of Goering speeding down your boulevards in his stolen Rolls-Royce. You need not have wept to see these sights, for in your city, those who had sought to conquer the minds of all men met their greatest spiritual defeat. In your city, the fanatics whose religion was narrow nationalism came face to face with universal human greatness, with the glory that was Greece, with the splendor that was the Renaissance.